Okay, this is the third part of chemistry chapter 3, acid bases and salts, and we are on salts and their laboratory preparation. The definition of salt. Salt is a compound formed by the partial or total replacement of the ionizable hydrogen atoms of an acid by a metallic ion or an ammonium ion of a base. First, we'll take example of partial replacement of ionizable hydrogen atom from acid. So we have sodium nitrate. It reacts with sulfuric acid. Acid has got two ionizable hydrogen atoms, out of which one ionizable hydrogen atom is replaced by this nitrate radical of the base sodium nitrate, and we get sodium hydrogen sulfate plus nitric acid. But when this mixture is heated above 200 degrees Celsius, sodium nitrate in excess displaces both the ionizable hydrogen atoms of sulfuric acid to form neutral sodium sulfate salt plus nitric acid. Okay, so salt is formed in both the cases. In the first case, a salt is formed with a hydrogen atom in between, NaHSO4. And in the second case, the salt is formed without any hydrogen atoms. Both the hydrogen atoms are, you can say, neutralized, or you can say replaced by uh, nitrate ions and sulfate ions, and you can say that the salt which thus formed is a neutral salt. In the first case, the salt which was formed was an acid salt. In the second case, the salt formed is a neutral salt. Okay, so this is the definition of a salt. It is formed by partial or total replacement of ionizable hydrogen atoms of an acid by a metallic or an ammonium ion. So in the second example, I think I used some wrong words. The hydrogen ion is replaced by sodium ions. Okay, not sulfate or nitrate ions, sodium ions. Ionic definition of salt. Salt is an ionic compound which dissociates in water to yield positive ion other than hydrogen ion and a negative ion other than hydroxyl ion. So salt contains metallic ions other than hydrogen ions and non-metallic ions other than hydroxyl ions, and it dissociates in water to give these ions. For example, sodium chloride. Sodium chloride, when you put in water, it is made up of sodium ions and chloride ions. Uh, Sodium ion is a positive ion but not hydrogen. Chloride ion is a negative ion but not hydroxyl. So that's why sodium chloride is a salt. It is prepared by neutralizing sodium hydroxide with hydrochloric acid. If you mix sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid, you get salt with the metallic part from the base and non-metallic part from the acid, and water from the mixture of hydroxyl ion and hydrogen ions only. NaOH plus HCl gives NaCl plus H2O. Okay, next is classification of salts. See, now there are 6 kinds of salt which you should know about. First is a normal salt. What is a normal salt? Normal salts are the salts formed by complete replacement of ionizable hydrogen atoms of an acid by a metallic or an ammonium ion. Hydrochloric acid yields sodium chloride. That is an example of a normal salt. HCl plus NaOH gives NaCl plus H2O. H2SO4 plus 2NaOH is also an example of neutralization yielding a normal salt, that is Na2SO4 plus 2H2O. Normal salts have no ionizable hydrogen atoms. Okay, so let me ask you, is this first example of a normal salt, NaHSO4? No. Is the second one example of a normal salt? Yes. Okay, the first one is not a normal salt, it is an acid salt because it contains an ionizable hydrogen atom. Acid salts. Acid salts are formed by the partial replacement of the ionizable hydrogen atoms of a polybasic acid. What do you mean by polybasic acid? Polybasic acids are acids which contain more than one ionizable hydrogen atoms, which contain more than one ionizable hydrogen atom. For example, H2SO4 is a polybasic acid. Okay, so this polybasic acid, when reacts with you can say some other compound, it can be a base, it can be a salt, anything, it forms an acid salt and water, or acid salt or acid. For example, dibasic acid sulfuric acid reacts with sodium chloride below 200 degrees Celsius. Now you will just look at the reaction and say that a salt and an acid cannot react, but they do. They form sodium hydrogen sulfate plus HCl. A less volatile salt reacts, a less volatile acid reacts with salt of more volatile acid to form an acid salt plus more volatile acid. Similarly, sulfuric acid plus sodium hydroxide gives sodium sulfate plus water, acid salt. So NaHSO4, since it contains H, that is an ionizable hydrogen atom, which is not completely ionized, this kind of salt is known as acid salt. Other examples of acid salts are NaHSO3, sodium hydrogen sulfite, NaHPO4, Na2HPO4, sodium hydrogen phosphate, and NaH2PO4, sodium dihydrogen phosphate. The first one was disodium hydrogen phosphate, and the second one is sodium dihydrogen phosphate. Acid salts are usually formed when the amount of base taken is insufficient for the complete neutralization of acid. So if the amount of acid is more than the amount of base, then acid salts are formed like this. Acid salts ionize in water to give hydronium ions, and therefore they show all the properties of an acid. So whenever acid salts, just like sodium hydrogen sulfate, they are put in water, they form many hydronium ions and they show all the properties of an acid. Then the next one is basic salt. Basic salts are formed by partial replacement of hydroxyl group of a di or a triacidic base by an acid radical. Basic salts are formed by the partial replacement of hydroxyl group of a di or a triacidic base by an acid radical. Okay, so we have basic lead chloride, PbOHCl. So definitely for formation of basic lead chloride, which is shown over here, we need dibasic base, diacidic base, which is PbOH twice, plus HCl, which has only one ionizable hydrogen atom. So when they react, one of the hydroxide ions, it remains as it is inside the salt, and it shows the property of basic salts. Okay, these basic salt, when dissolved in water, they form hydroxyl ions in the water, and they show all the properties of a base. Okay, basic magnesium chloride, basic copper chloride, and basic copper nitrate. These are all basic salts because they contain OH minus ions. Then there is double salt, mixed salt, and complex salt. These are not part of your syllabus, but still just understand what they are. Okay, double salts are formed by the union of two simple salts that dissolved in water and crystallize. So potash alum, potassium sulfate and aluminum sulfate, that crystallize together in their mixture in water, and they form a double salt of potash alum, K2SO4.Al2SO4 thrice.24H2O. More salt is formed by the mixture of FeSO4 and NH4 twice SO4, iron sulfate and ammonium sulfate in their mixture in water. Dolomite, CaCO3.MgCO3. It's an ore. Dolomite is an ore, and that is also formed by, you can say, mixture of two simple salts that dissolved in water and crystallize. Okay. Mixed salts are those that contain more than one basic or acidic radical. For example, sodium potassium carbonate. It contains sodium also, potassium also, and carbonate also. How many metallic ions does it contain? Two metallic ions. That is a basic radical. Remember, metallic ion is always a basic radical. Bleaching powder, CaOCl2. There is oxygen also, chloride also. So it's a mixed salt. Complex salts are those which on dissociation give one simple ion and one complex ion. That is sodium argentocyanide. Sodium argentocyanide formula is NaAgCN twice. It has got one simple ion and one complex ion, which is argentocyanide. Sodium plus argentocyanide is sodium argentocyanide. Other example is silver aminochloride and tetramine copper sulfate. Okay, we don't have many mentions of these compounds, but these complex salts are important in chemistry. General properties of salts. See, salts are electrovalent compounds. They conduct electricity in their molten state as well as in their aqueous solution state due to their dissociation into ions. That's the first property of salt. They are electrovalent compounds and they conduct electricity in molten state as well as aqueous solution state. They are non-volatile solids which forms crystal. Solubility of salts. You have studied about this in class 9th. Most of the salts are soluble in water and the degree of their solubility in water varies with temperature. We can see this figure in which it is shown that potassium nitrate is highly soluble with increase in temperature. Potassium bromide is also soluble, and it is, you can say, the maximum amount of potassium bromide is soluble in water at 0 degrees Celsius. Then there is potassium chloride, which is fairly soluble. Sodium chloride, which is okay, you can say that it is a very neutral soluble salt. It does not get dissolved in a very high quantity on increasing temperature. So the effect of change of temperature or increase of temperature on sodium chloride on its solubility is not significant. Potassium chlorate is soluble, its solubility increases with temperature. Potassium sulfate, sparingly soluble, not much soluble. Calcium sulfate, very, I think you can say peculiar solubility curve it has. Its solubility increases very little on increasing temperature by, let's say, maybe 5 grams up to 5 grams of calcium sulfate can be dissolved up to 50 degrees Celsius, and after approximately 50 degrees Celsius the solubility of calcium sulfate dramatically decreases and becomes zero. So on increasing the temperature of the solution after 50 degrees Celsius, the solubility of calcium sulfate decreases. So these are the solubility. Okay, and okay, so if at least 1 gram of a substance can be dissolved in 100 ml of water at 298 Kelvin, it is called soluble salt. If 0.1 to 1 gram of a substance is dissolved in 100 ml at 298 Kelvin, then it is called partially soluble salt. Now, what is 298 Kelvin? 298 is approximately 25 degrees Celsius. Okay. And if less than 0.1 gram of a substance can be dissolved in 100 ml of water at 298 Kelvin, it is called an insoluble salt. Okay. So, solubility of salt can be remembered with the help of this table. All the compounds of ammonium, sodium, and potassium are soluble in water, no exceptions. All the nitrates and nitrites are soluble in water, no exceptions. All the chlorides, bromides, and iodides are soluble in water, chlorides, bromides, and iodides. Exceptions are there: mercury chloride, silver chloride, lead chloride are not soluble. Lead chloride is soluble in hot water, not in cold water. Remember that. All sulfates are soluble. For example, for exception, there are calcium sulfate, lead sulfate, and barium sulfate. These are not soluble. All carbonates, sulfides, and phosphates are insoluble. Carbonates, sulfides, and phosphates are insoluble, except of ammonium, sodium, and potassium. अमोनियम, सोडियम, पोटेशियम के तो सारे सॉल्ट सोल्यूबल होते हैं, उनके कार्बोनेट, सल्फाइड्स और फॉस्फेट्स भी सोल्यूबल होते हैं. ठीक है, सिर्फ याद रखना सल्फेट्स में कैल्शियम, लेड और बैरियम के सल्फेट सोल्यूबल नहीं है, बाकी सारे सोल्यूबल है. क्लोराइड सारे सोल्यूबल है, ब्रोमाइड, आयोडाइड सारे सोल्यूबल है, एक्सेप्ट मर्क्यूरी, सिल्वर और लेड के. नाइट्रेट के सारे कंपाउंड नाइट्रेट और नाइट्रेट सोल्यूबल ही होते हैं, और अमोनियम सोडियम पोटेशियम के सारे कंपाउंड्स सारे सॉल्ट सोल्यूबल होते हैं। ये ट्रिवियल है, ये तुम्हें याद रखना है, ठीक है, इंफॉर्मेशन है ना इसके लिए। ओके, ऑल मेटालिक ऑक्साइड्स एंड हाइड्रोक्साइड्स आर इनसोल्यूबल एक्सेप्ट सोडियम पोटेशियम एंड अमोनियम। सोडियम पोटेशियम अमोनियम के तो सारे ही कंपाउंड सोल्यूबल है, ठीक है, दे आर हाईली आयोनिक, हाईली इलेक्ट्रोवैलेंट। Sodium hydrogen carbonate and potassium hydrogen carbonate are sparingly soluble. Sparingly means a little. Okay, hydrolysis of salt. What is hydrolysis of salt? Please pay attention. The phenomena due to which salt formed by a weak acid and a strong base, or by a strong acid and a weak base, reacts with water to give an acidic or an alkaline solution is known as hydrolysis. Can you now remember what kind of salts formed by weak acid and strong base? Weak acid और strong base कैसा salt देता है? देखो हमेशा याद रखना, वीक एसिड प्लस स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस, इनसे जो सॉल्ट बनता है वो हमेशा बेसिक सॉल्ट होता है। बेसिक सॉल्ट मतलब उसमें OH होना जरूरी नहीं, लेकिन अगर उसको वाटर में डालोगे, ये बेसिक सॉल्ट को अगर तुम पानी में डालोगे तो इट विल dissociate and form more hydroxyl ion compared to hydronium ion, and that's why this solution will be basic in nature. It will form a basic solution, ठीक है। On the contrary, strong acid plus weak base, इनके बीच भी रिएक्शन होता है न्यूट्रलाइजेशन, लेकिन इससे जो सॉल्ट बनता है that is acidic salt, and this acidic salt when put in water, it furnishes more hydronium ions as compared with hydroxyl ions, and that's why this solution of acidic salt in water is known as acidic solution, is known as acidic solution. So salts formed from strong bases like sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, and weak acids like carbonic acid and CH3COOH, that is acetic acid, hydrolyze in water. Strong base and weak acid, okay, they hydrolyze in water to give alkaline solutions. They have pH more than 7. For example, the examples are also given here. Sodium carbonate, sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate is formed by sodium hydroxide and carbonic acid. Okay, this sodium carbonate when dissolved in water, it produces weak acid and a strong alkali. Again, it forms, you can say, a solution which is mixture of a weak acid and strong alkali. Hence, the solution of salt which is formed from strong base and weak acid will be basic in nature, will have pH more than 7. And the second example is potassium acetate, CH3COOK. When it is dissolved in water, it forms a weak acid and strong alkali. That means it has pH of more than 7. It will be basic in nature. On the other hand, the salts of strong acids and weak bases, they hydrolyze in water to give acidic solution, pH less than 7. For example, iron chloride. Iron chloride when put in water gives HCl and ferric hydroxide. HCl is a strong acid, ferric hydroxide is a weak base. So the salt which is formed on their combination is acid salt, acidic salt. Okay, this acidic salt will give an acidic solution when dissolved in water. Copper sulfate is formed from a strong acid and a weak base. Again, copper sulfate, the nature of copper sulfate is acidic. When dissolved in water, it will have pH less than 7. Salts derived from strong acids and strong bases, such as sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, potassium nitrate, they give a neutral solution in water. So strong acids plus strong bases, give neutral salts which form neutral solutions in water. Salts formed from weak bases like ammonium hydroxides and weak acids like acetic acids may be acidic, may be alkaline, or may be neutral depending upon the dissociated ions or undissociated molecules. So ammonium acetate, ammonium carbonate. Okay, these are the salts formed from weak bases and weak acids. They may be acidic, they may be alkaline, they may be neutral depending upon the dissociated ions. Okay, so these are, you can say, some basic idea regarding salts. Now let's go ahead and learn about preparation of soluble salts. Now the preparation of salts, soluble and insoluble both, is not part of your, specifically the laboratory preparation is not part of your syllabus, the current syllabus, but I'm still going to teach it because the knowledge which is required about salts from this part is very necessary to answer some of the questions in the exercise. So we will go through this part. It is a long part. It has so much of information, and it is finally your choice whether to study it or how to study it or not to study it. But my duty is to teach it. So I'm going to teach it. Okay. So you can do as you wish with this particular part. Okay, so preparation of soluble salts. First, we'll go through the preparation of soluble salts and then the preparation of insoluble salts, or maybe soluble salts but by other methods. Okay, so the first method of preparation of soluble salts is direct combination by heating two elements together. For example, molten sodium chloride, molten sodium plus chlorine gives sodium chloride salt. Molten iron plus chlorine gives iron chloride salt. Second method of preparation of soluble salt is simple displacement reaction. Active metal plus acid gives salt plus hydrogen. Zinc plus sulfuric acid gives zinc sulfate plus hydrogen. Here zinc sulfate is a salt which is made from simple displacement. So you should understand the pattern. Decomposition. If bicarbonates are treated with acids, they decompose to give respective salt plus water plus carbon dioxide. Bicarbonates with acids give salt plus water plus carbon dioxide, that is decomposition of bicarbonates. Decomposition of carbonates. Carbonates when react with acids, they give salt plus water plus carbon dioxide as well. Then decomposition of chlorides. Chlorides have peculiar decomposition. Chlorides whenever react with concentrated acids at different temperatures, they give different kind of salts. Below 200 degrees Celsius, they give acid salts plus hydrogen chloride gas in this case. Above 200 degrees Celsius, they give normal salts plus again hydrogen chloride gas in this case. And zinc chloride, it just gives zinc sulfate plus HCl gas when reacted with acids. So chlorides, they decompose to give their respective salt when react with acids. Then nitrates also decompose on reaction with acids to form acid salt, just like potassium nitrate reacts with sulfuric acid below 200 degrees Celsius to give potassium hydrogen sulfate, acid salt plus nitric acids. So decomposition is one more method for preparing soluble salts, along with direct combination and simple displacement. Let's look at the fourth method, neutralization. Acid when react with soluble base or alkali, it gives a salt which is soluble salt, of course, aqueous solution of salt and water. Same goes with hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid and magnesium oxide. They all give their respective salts and water. By the action of alkalis, sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide on certain metals, and certain metals, their oxides and their hydroxide. So aluminium when reacts with alkali sodium hydroxide in the presence of water, it gives sodium aluminate. Sodium aluminate. So that's one more method of preparing a soluble salt, sodium aluminate, and hydrogen gas is evolved. Zinc plus sodium hydroxide gives sodium zincate. Now, why do these metals react with these bases? Metals react with this bases because these bases are highly reactive, and these strong bases, they react with some metals to give out hydrogen gas. Aluminium oxide react with sodium hydroxide. Now you must be thinking aluminium oxide is a metallic oxide, so it must be basic in nature. No, but I have already taught you that aluminium oxide, the nature of aluminium oxide is amphoteric. Amphoteric means it shows acidic as well as basic properties. So aluminium oxide, when reacts with a strong base, sodium hydroxide, it gives sodium aluminate as a soluble salt plus water. Aluminium hydroxide gives the same thing with sodium hydroxide, sodium aluminate. Zinc oxide and zinc hydroxide also gives potassium zincate when react with potassium hydroxide. Okay, so zinc hydroxide, aluminum hydroxides are amphoteric in nature. Okay, that's why they react with bases. Soluble salts are prepared in solution only. Soluble salts are obtained by evaporation of water followed by crystallization. Some soluble salts like zincates, aluminates are found in only in solution. These salts cannot be obtained in their pure forms by crystallization. Okay, so these are the methods of preparation of soluble salts. Now, the preparation of insoluble salts. First is direct combination. When lead reacts with sulfur, it forms lead sulfide, which is an insoluble salt. Same goes with iron and sulfur, forms iron sulfide, insoluble salt, by the combination of acidic oxide with basic oxide. Sulfur dioxide with calcium oxide gives calcium sulfite. Carbon dioxide plus calcium oxide gives calcium carbonate. These are all insoluble salts. Okay, but how they are formed? By the combination of acidic oxide with a basic oxide. Third method is by the precipitation reaction, double decomposition. When a soluble salt reacts with acid or another soluble salt, it gives an insoluble salt uh, with acidic solution or salt solution. Okay, so barium chloride plus sulfuric acid gives barium sulfate plus hydrochloric acid. Sodium nitrate plus hydrochloric acid gives sodium chloride plus nitric acid. Lead nitrate plus sodium carbonate gives lead carbonate plus sodium nitrate. One of which is always precipitated because it's insoluble salt, and one of which is always in soluble form. That's why it is in solution form. An insoluble salt can also be prepared from another insoluble salt by double decomposition. Insoluble salt is first to be converted into a soluble salt, which can then be used for preparing desired salt. These all informations are important unless and until they are removed from syllabus from your respective board exams, then okay, but otherwise these all informations are to be memorized. Okay, more methods of preparing insoluble salt. Okay, from another insoluble salt. Okay, so let's prepare lead sulfate from insoluble lead carbonate or insoluble lead oxide. So suppose I have lead oxide which is insoluble, I want lead sulfate. First I will convert lead oxide into lead nitrate, which is soluble, by treating it with nitric acid. So I've got lead nitrate now, which is soluble, plus water. Now, in a similar way, lead carbonate can also be converted into lead nitrate by treating it with nitric acid by double decomposition reaction. It gives out water plus, okay, sorry, this is decomposition reaction. So lead carbonate plus nitric acid gives lead nitrate plus water plus carbon dioxide. Now we had lead oxide and lead carbonate initially. These lead oxide and lead carbonate both were insoluble. We converted them into lead nitrate. Now this lead nitrate is used to prepare lead sulfate, which is insoluble. How? Lead nitrate is soluble. How we will use it? we will treat lead nitrate with sodium sulfate or sulfuric acid, which will give us lead sulfate, which is precipitated, which is insoluble salt, with nitric acid or sodium nitrate respectively. Okay, so this is double decomposition reaction. Okay, always remember insoluble salts are prepared by precipitation reaction, which is a kind of double decomposition reaction. Okay, adding dilute H2SO4 to lead carbonate in order to prepare sodium sulfate is an impractical method because insoluble crust of lead sulfate is formed on lead carbonate, which prevents the further reaction. So this question might be asked, that why lead carbonate is not used for, sorry, why sulfuric acid is not used to prepare lead sulfate from lead carbonate. We used here, uh, we first converted lead carbonate into lead nitrate and used then added sulfuric acid to lead nitrate. We did not directly add lead carbonate with sulfuric acid, otherwise an insoluble crust of lead sulfate will be formed, which will prevent the further reaction and double decomposition will not proceed. Lead chloride is prepared from insoluble lead oxide or lead carbonate by the same method. But first, if you want lead chloride, convert lead oxide or lead carbonate into lead nitrate and then react lead nitrate with hydrochloric acid to get lead chloride. Silver chloride and barium sulfate. Silver chloride is usually prepared by reacting of aqueous silver nitrate with dilute hydrochloric acid and precipitate of silver chloride is obtained. So lead nitrate, I'm sorry, silver chloride, if you want to prepare, take silver nitrate, which is soluble salt. Silver nitrate is soluble, right? Let's check whether the solubility of silver nitrate is known or not. Yes, over here. Silver nitrate, all nitrates are soluble. Yeah, so silver nitrate we have to take first. Then add hydrochloric acid to silver nitrate. We will get silver chloride, which is insoluble. So it will precipitate out and you will get nitric acid. Barium sulfate, if you want to prepare, take barium chloride, which is a white solution, add sulfuric acid to it. Barium sulfate will be precipitated out and you will get hydrochloric acid solution. Okay, so these are the preparation of some insoluble salts by double decomposition reaction. Okay, so we have we have in the one method we have preparation of soluble salts by direct combination, simple displacement, decomposition, neutralization, or by the action of alkalis on certain metals and their oxides and hydroxides, and then preparation of insoluble salts by direct combination, acidic oxide and basic oxides combination, and double decomposition or precipitation reaction, which we have studied in detail. Now we are going to study some laboratory preparation of some salts, normal and acid salts both, in detail. So this part, I think it is taken out from your syllabus, but I'm going to explain each and every type of salt. It will hardly take, let's say each salt type will take 5 to 10 minutes. There are 4 to 5, so maybe an hour more and we are done with this huge part of salts. And then there is this last part remaining, and after that analytical chemistry. We are going to finish both this week and then move to the next topic of physics maybe. But before that we must complete this. Okay, let's start. Okay, so first is laboratory preparation of iron chloride. The method is synthesis, that is direct combination of elements. Procedure is, first we take powdered iron in a combustion tube. Okay, so either you take powdered iron or you take iron wire, does not matter. You take it in a combustion tube and you heat it from below. Okay, dry chlorine gas is obtained by passing the gas through concentrated sulfuric acid. Since concentrated sulfuric acid is a drying agent, drying and dehydrating agent, it removes all the moisture from uh, chlorine gas. and this dry chlorine gas is passed through this heated iron wire or powdered iron. The air inside the apparatus is expelled and the iron turns red hot since the reaction is exothermic. Now external heating is suspended. Since the reaction is exothermic, external heating is not required. So initially you heat the iron wire, but as the air goes out of this, you can say, combustion tube, and chlorine begins entering this combustion tube, you don't need external heating, because when chlorine combines with iron, it produces heat. It's an exothermic reaction. And on combination, iron 3 chloride is formed, which volatilizes volatilizes and condenses in the receiver as brown scale. So here the fumes of you can say iron chloride are formed, and these fumes, they pass through this uh, delivery tube and they condense here at the bottom of this uh, conical flask as solid iron chloride in the form of brown scale. Okay, so the reaction is Fe plus 3Cl2 is 2FeCl3. Iron 3 chloride is highly deliquescent. Deliquescent means it absorbs moisture from the atmosphere and becomes moist, wet. So it is kept dry with the help of fused calcium chloride, which is a drying agent. See, there is a fused calcium chloride contained in you can say a vessel which is attached to this conical flask, which is attached with this tube, and you can say all the moisture which is present in the conical flask is absorbed by this fused calcium chloride. Anhydrous FeCl3, anhydrous means dry, cannot be prepared by simply heating hydrated ferric chloride, because on heating, hydrated ferric chloride produces Fe2O3.H2O and HCl. Okay, so Fe2O3.H2O will not give you FeCl3, right? We want FeCl3. If you want FeCl3, you cannot heat FeCl3.6H2O. It will give you Fe2O3. Fe2O3 is iron oxide, iron 2 oxide. Okay, so if you want iron 3 chloride, it is basically prepared by this method, that is direct combination of iron, heated iron and chlorine gas, and it is kept dry with the help of fused calcium chloride. Okay, so this is the reaction through which we have got this iron chloride. No, not this reaction. I'm sorry. This is the method by which we don't prepare it. This is the reaction. Okay, the next salt is copper 2 sulfate or blue vitriol. The method of preparation for copper 2 sulfate is by the action of dilute sulfuric acid on an insoluble base of copper hydroxide. Copper oxide or copper carbonate will also do. So H2SO4, we have got H2SO4. It can react with copper hydroxide, copper oxide, copper carbonate, and it will yield copper sulfate. This copper sulfate, when mixed with some amount of water, it gives blue vitriol or hydrated copper sulfate. What is the method? The procedure is, you have to take some dilute sulfuric acid in a beaker and heat it on wire gauze. Then you have to add copper hydroxide or black cupric oxide or copper carbonate in small quantities at a time, and keep stirring the solution till no more of it dissolves and excess compound settles to the bottom. You have to filter it hot and collect that filtrate in a china dish and evaporate the filtrate by heating to the point of crystallization, and then allow it to cool. Then you have to collect the bright blue crystals of copper 2 sulfate, which are formed by crystallization. Other salts which can be prepared by the same method of crystallization, that is, those are zinc sulfate, lead nitrate, calcium chloride, calcium nitrate, magnesium sulfate, all can be prepared by this method of copper sulfate. Okay, next salt is zinc sulfate and iron sulfate, iron 2 sulfate. They both are prepared by the same method. We add dilute sulfuric acid on active metal of zinc or iron, and by the combination reaction or displacement reaction we get zinc sulfate. By displacement reaction we get zinc sulfate and iron sulfate, whatever we want to prepare. This zinc sulfate or iron sulfate, when added with water, it gives hydrated crystals of respective zinc sulfate or iron sulfate salt. For this, the procedure is you have to take dilute sulfuric acid, 1 volume of acid and 5 volumes of water in a beaker and heat it on a wire gauze. Then you have to add some granulated zinc pieces, a little at a time with constant stirring. Effervescence will take place because of the liberation of hydrogen gas. You have to add zinc till the metal settles at the base of the beaker. When effervescence stops, it indicates that all the acid has been used up. The excess of zinc is filtered off. Collect the solution in a china dish. Evaporate the solution to get crystals. Filter them. Wash them with water. Dry them between the folds of filter paper. And the white needle shaped crystals are of hydrated zinc sulfate, commonly known as white vitriol. Okay, so this is the method of preparation of white vitriol or zinc sulfate. Iron sulfate is also prepared by the same method. Okay, so here one preparation of zinc sulfate crystals schematic diagram is given for your reference. First, reaction of zinc and sulfuric acid is given, in which hydrogen is liberated. Then zinc sulfate solution with excess of undissolved zinc and impurities is filtered out. Zinc sulfate solution with excess zinc and impurities. Pure zinc sulfate solution is left behind. This zinc sulfate solution is evaporated till crystals begin to appear, and the crystals of zinc sulfate appear on further cooling, which are basically, yeah, your required salt. Then the next is iron sulfate. It is prepared by the same method. First, iron is treated with sulfuric acid to give iron sulfate. Hydrogen is liberated. This iron sulfate solution is heated and then cooled to get crystals of green vitriol or hydrated iron sulfate. Filter the hot solution formed and allow the filtrate to evaporate at room temperature. Pale green crystals of hydrated iron sulfate are formed. Okay, so that's the third type of salt and third method of forming this salt. The next is lead chloride and calcium carbonate. The method of preparation of lead chloride and calcium carbonate is double decomposition. Why double decomposition? Because lead chloride and calcium carbonate both are insoluble salts. Always remember, insoluble salt is prepared by double decomposition or precipitation method. An insoluble salt can be prepared by mixing the solutions of two appropriate salts, each containing one of its ions. This mixing results in the formation of an insoluble solid precipitate, which can be filtered, washed and dried, and which is our required salt. So first is lead chloride. Lead chloride, if you want to prepare, you can use either dilute hydrochloric acid or sodium chloride solution, which is the uh, compound which will give chlorine in lead chloride. And other soluble salt solution is of lead nitrate. Always remember, lead nitrate is very useful in making any lead salt, any insoluble lead salt. So sodium chloride solution plus lead nitrate solution on double decomposition, we get sodium nitrate solution, and this sodium nitrate, and if you see the filtrate, not the filtrate, the the insoluble salt which is not filtered out is of lead chloride. Okay, this lead chloride is basically evaporated and the crystals of lead chlorides are formed. Okay, let's read about it. Maybe we'll come to know some terms I've not used properly. The solution of lead nitrate and sodium chloride is then filtered. Okay, so first lead nitrate is reacted with hydrochloric acid, or lead nitrate is reacted with sodium chloride. Both contain chlorine, and we get precipitate of lead chloride plus nitric acid or sodium nitrate solution. The lead nitrate solution and sodium chloride is then filtered. The heavy white precipitate of lead chloride accumulated as residue on filter paper. It is then washed repeatedly with cold water. This precipitate is taken in a china dish with some water, and it is heated till the precipitate of lead chloride dissolves. The solution is then cooled, and pure needle-shaped crystals of lead chloride are thus obtained. So once you get that filtrate of lead chloride is put into china dish with some water and heated to obtain the crystals of lead chloride. Okay, because it dissolves in hot water, does not dissolve in cold water. The chlorides of lead, silver, mercury means mercury 2 chloride, and sulfates of barium, lead, and calcium are also prepared using this same method. Okay. Calcium carbonate, our next salt, which is insoluble salt and prepared by double decomposition reaction. It is prepared by adding sodium carbonate. It is prepared by adding sodium carbonate solution to a hot solution of calcium chloride in a beaker till the former is in excess. Former means sodium carbonate. Okay, so you add sodium carbonate to hot solution of calcium chloride till the former means sodium carbonate is in excess, and you find calcium carbonate precipitated in that particular test tube or container and sodium chloride solution, a white sodium chloride solution in which this precipitate is formed. The white precipitate of formed by interchange of radicals is filtered and washed repeatedly with cold water and collected. The washed precipitate is dried to obtain amorphous powder of calcium carbonate. Amorphous means dry. Amorphous means dry. Okay. The carbonates of all metals except sodium, potassium, and ammonium are prepared by the above method. How? First, you add sodium carbonate solution to your required salt solution, like you want sodium chloride or potassium chloride or ammonium chloride. Hey, you don't want sodium, potassium, and ammonium chloride from this method. You cannot prepare. But other than sodium, potassium, and ammonium chloride, whichever chlorides you want to prepare, you can prepare using this method by adding it with sodium carbonate and taking out the precipitate and washing the precipitate and drying it. You get calcium carbonate. Preparation of an acid salt, sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so the principle for preparing sodium bicarbonate here is by passing carbon dioxide gas into a cold solution of sodium carbonate. So you take sodium carbonate, you pass carbon dioxide gas into it, into the cold solution of it, and you get sodium hydrogen carbonate directly. So the steps are shown over here. Procedure: dissolve nearly 5 grams of anhydrous or dry sodium carbonate in about 25 centimeter cube of distilled water in a flask. You have to cool the solution by keeping the flask in a freezing mixture. The freezing mixture is maybe of ice and salt. Pass carbon dioxide gas in the solution. Direct combination reaction will take place and crystals of sodium bicarbonate will precipitate out after some time. You have to filter these crystals and dry it in the folds of filter paper to get the required uh, acid salt of sodium hydrogen carbonate. Sodium hydrogen carbonate is used in health salts. Health salts are mixture of dry citric acids or tartaric acid and sodium hydrogen carbonate. On adding water, acid reacts with sodium hydrogen carbonate to liberate carbon dioxide, which forms an effervescence drink and release gas pressure in the stomach. ये जो health salts है, that is the example of this health salt is ENO. जो इनो को तुम पानी में डाल के पीते हो ना, जिससे कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड रिलीज होता है और तुम्हारे स्टमक का जो गैस और एसिडिटी है वो कम होता है, that is this health salt in which sodium hydrogen carbonate is used. Sixth, and I think the final method of preparation of a salt is neutralization reaction. Neutralization is the process by which hydrogen ions of an acid react completely with the hydroxyl ions of the base to give salt and water only. We already know what is neutralization. Base plus acid gives salt and water. For example, sodium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid gives sodium chloride plus water. So what is happening actually? Sodium hydroxide contains sodium ions and hydroxyl ions. Hydrochloric acid contains hydrogen ions and chlorine ions. Sodium and chlorine ions will combine to form salt. Hydroxyl and hydrogen ion will combine to form water. Na plus and Cl minus ions present in this reactants as well as in the principal product. Thus, by cancelling out the ions present in the reactants as well as one in the products, we get the following equation. H plus OH minus gives H2O, and H3O plus OH minus gives 2H2O. Similarly, potassium hydroxide can be neutralized with sulfuric acid to give potassium sulfate and water, and that is also basically hydroxyl and hydrogen ions combining to form water. Heat of neutralization. It is the amount of heat liberated when 1 gram equivalent of acid or base is completely neutralized. Okay, so that is one more method of preparing a salt, neutralization. Laboratory preparation of sodium sulfate crystals. Okay, so sodium sulfate, which I think we saw potassium sulfate here, but sodium sulfate can also be prepared by the method of neutralization. And the method here used over here is known as titration. Okay, I'll tell you about that. So neutralization of caustic soda with dilute sulfuric acid is the principle. We take caustic soda, sodium hydroxide with sulfuric acid, gives sodium sulfate and water. This method is useful for preparing soluble salts of only sodium, potassium and ammonium. Okay, titration method is used for preparing soluble salts of only sodium, potassium and ammonium. Since the reactants as well as products are soluble, titration a titration is conducted to determine the completion of neutralization reaction. Okay, so we have a burette, a marked burette in which dilute sulfuric acid is filled, and the amount of dilute sulfuric acid which is added to a conical flask in which sodium hydroxide is filled is controlled with the help of you can say a knob which controls the amount of acid which falls into the conical flask drop by drop. So 25 centimeter cube of sodium hydroxide is taken in a conical flask. A drop of indicator phenolphthalein is added. The solution will turn pink. Which solution will be pink? This sodium hydroxide solution will be pink. Let me just show you with a color. Okay, so this solution will turn pink. Now what? A burette filled with dilute sulfuric acid and the reading on the burette is noted. Okay, so here reading on the burette is noted, maybe 0 or whatever the reading is noted. The acid is run in drops into the conical flask till the last drop of acid turns the solution colorless. So drop by drop the acid is put into the conical flask and mixed with sodium hydroxide, and slowly you will observe the pink color of sodium hydroxide in which phenolphthalein is added is becoming pale and finally it becomes colorless. At the moment it becomes colorless, you have to stop that stopper of the burette and you have to stop putting any more drops of hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid into the sodium hydroxide solution. So that is the end point. Note the burette reading at the end point. The difference between the two readings is the volume of acid required. The initial value and the final value of the acid level in the burette will give you the amount of acid required for complete neutralization of sodium hydroxide. The acid and alkali in the same ratio as found above are now mixed in an evaporating basin. Now you know that, in this there is 25 centimeter cube. There is 25 centimeter cube of sodium hydroxide. Suppose here the acid which has been used is around 30 centimeter cube. So what is the ratio of acid is to base for complete neutralization? 25 is to 30. That is 25 by 30, and 25 by 30 is in the ratio 5 is to 6. So 5 is to 6 by volume of acid and base when are taken together and mixed, you get a complete neutralized solution. On evaporating this solution, crystals of sodium sulfate are obtained. In the place of sodium hydroxide, sodium carbonate can be used in this reaction. However, methyl orange is then used as indicator. Since sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid both are soluble, excess of either of them cannot be removed by filtration. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary to find on a small scale the ratio of two solutions for complete neutralization before preparation. In order to prepare acid salt, we add little more amount of acid into the same amount of base. So that excess of acid gives us an acid salt. Okay, so that was all about preparation of salts, and there are so many questions on preparation of salt in this and on this particular part. So I'm going to give you this exercise as homework. Whichever questions you feel that are part of your syllabus, or even if you want to solve them, because ahead in other chapters some similar questions are going to be there. As I told you, study of compounds is very similar to this, so I recommend that don't leave anything, do everything. Okay, so I'm going to see you in the next video. We are going to finish this chapter as well as the next part of this chapter, that is analytical chemistry. Okay, so be prepared for that, and then we are going to jump to physics. See you in the next part. Bye bye.